on the physics of surfing.
All right. So just a couple of quick questions.
Sure.
The movie itself, how grueling was it on that out there in the cold? I mean, because you're not on set.
No. I mean, I guess you could call this a set because somebody put it together. They dragged 3 huge chunks of an airplane fuselage up this hill, so it is a set. But it's the of any set I've ever been on, it's the one that felt the least like a set. So to be honest with you, sure, it was grueling. The hours were bizarre because the light that far north is really limited, so you're getting up really early. No problem, actors, everybody does that for work, but you're traveling up in stages up this hill, still in the dark, and then the crew and the camera crew are all standing around waiting for the sun to rise before we can start shooting. Maybe 6 or 7 hours of light is all we had in February in northern British Columbia. So it was a full sprint all day long. You know, nobody's sitting around on directors' chairs with their, with their cappuccino. It was, everybody was equal. You know, maybe I said in your room, nature's the great equalizer. The movie's about that, and then it's actually happening because it was impossible to give anybody, Liam or anyone else, special treatment for anything.
Right. We're
all taking a piss in the same porta potty that you wouldn't. I've never seen anything like this. Literally 3 inches of frozen urine on this thing. So imagine what that crew is going through to make a movie that has this kind of intense realism and authenticity. That's what everybody wanted, and that's what we were more than willing to go through, however grueling it was, to get it.
How was the casting process for you? I know it seems, what I've seen online at least, you kind of taken a break. And then,
not deliberately, you know how these things stack up. And then this last year, I worked.
Seems really busy.
Yes, strung a few things together. So I was hot to get in this cast. I think a lot of people were. You know, it was really sought after roles. Joe Carnahan just has this thing about him that, especially, he's making movies that men are in and that the guys like to go watch. So then the guys who are actors want to be in those type of movies for that reason. He has this reputation of just being a big brawler type of guy, and it's fun to work that way. You know, I don't know that much about Sam Peckinpah, but I get a feeling that we're dealing with somebody like that right now, and anybody would want in on that.
Have you seen the film with an audience yet, or?
Not really, just with like executives, like 5 or 10 other people. This week we have a premiere. We kind of checked with the cast. Are you staying to watch the movie? Are you staying to watch? Everyone's planning on staying because a lot of times you've seen it 2 or 3 times, and you don't want to, you don't want to see it that many more times. This I've seen once, but it didn't really count because that's going to be a packed house and a hell ride, right?
I'm telling you, the one scene where you get hit, and then I don't know if that was a setup intentionally for you to get hit, fall, and all of a sudden the wolf attacks.
Oh yeah. Man, that's good, right?
I even jumped. Big guy like me, even jumping down. That was definitely.
No, that one got me because of the way they edited it.
Yeah.
You know, there was just a few more. There was another line or two in the screenplay, so I'm watching it. It's kind of in the back of my mind, knowing what's coming, and then he just cut all that stuff out and had the wolf smack him from behind. It was jolting even for me, and I knew it was coming.
It was good. What would you like the audience to take from the film? I mean,
for me, the main thing is just to have a hell of a time in the theater. These days we've become so accustomed. You watch movies on your watch if you want to. You know what I mean? Like all this, but this, if there's ever a movie you want to go and actually have a theater experience, this is a great one to have because it's got qualities that other big blockbuster type movies don't have. It doesn't have explosions or chases or cars or anything like this. It's got this intensity of this real danger and peril, and it's got this incredible production values and great actors, and bizarrely it has these moments where it all kind of slows down or things subside, and there's a moment where men who would never normally stop to check in with each other or to tell a story that they never once uttered out loud. We take this moment in the movie, and it's kind of this shocking thing. One of the most shocking things in the movie isn't this surprise where the wolf jumps out of the darkness. It's that these men sit down and talk to each other. There's famous scenes in Jaws that do that, where the shark nowhere. We haven't seen the shark for 20 minutes, and Robert Shaw starts telling the story about the U.S. Indianapolis going down, and that whole scene is phenomenal. And then bam!
Yeah, it comes out get you.
Unbelievable. So it's one of those movies. It's like Aliens. It's like Jaws. You know, where fear is the real thing. In this story, fear just happens to be wolves, or even a mythical, larger, expanded version of what real wolves are.
I thought just the breathing, the air of seeing, not actually seeing the wolves, not even the eyes or anything, but it's just the smoke, smoke or whatever that is.
Yeah,
it's coming out there.
Incredible.
Scared the shit out of it.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
I thought Joe did a really good job with that, with actually showing the animals. It's just you leave it up to your imagination, like who's there, what's there.
Yeah, and then it goes from being about the fear of nature to being about the nature of fear. You know, it's just this. It gets as it gets tighter and tighter, it kind of expands and gets broader and broader. And at the end of the movie, it's like King Lear is standing out there in the ice, screaming to the heavens in this moment where Liam is, cursing skyward. It's just phenomenal. It's like the proportions. The number of people has diminished as the profundity and the epicness of it is expanding. Right. It's incredible.
So, do you have a fear of heights, or
I don't have a fear of heights. I wish I could, because Joe, he's describing this. It's going to be intense. We're really going to get in there and really see your fear. You are afraid of heights, right? And I said no. And he says, because we're going to. He says, what do you mean you're not afraid of heights? I said, well, Joe, I parachuted, I ski, high, cliffs, jumping off in the water and the thing. He's like, well, this wasn't going to work for him at all. That I wasn't,
Right.
It turns out doing that closer coverage on that, on that wire was so fatiguing
for you,
in reality that he got that sense of the desperation and the Reaper arriving.
The cliff scene, was that actual? You guys were there on that cliff, or
this is how we did that. They built out from a hill. A platform, so it's actually a set.
Right.
Again, it's like you get up there, and it took me about 2 hours to realize I'm standing on a platform out from this hill. That it's not actually a cliff, and then off from there, obscured by the trees, is they sunk it 10 feet in with the concrete, and so there's another end of the rope. So it's not actually tied to these flimsy trees, or you couldn't actually do it.
Right.
So when Henrik goes over and makes the jump and catches it. Then all of that's real. Now we're going off the cliff to a certain point. Oh, and we're wired there.
Right.
And so you see the camera comes around me and I get on it. They've etched out those wires. But even there, it's 20 feet above ground. Not what you see in the movie where it's hundreds.
Right.
But then when they do it going for the closer coverage of me, or of my character going across it, I'm probably ceiling height 10 feet above a stunt pad, but there's no wire support, so it's all me in my bulk and a backpack and a coat and in the clothing. So it's a real task to get in any of the physicality you see me as that's all real. You've seen a million times in movies the guy. Then you try it one time, man, you cannot believe how hard it is to shinny over your, you can't believe it. Right before I got on, I thought, that guy did okay. I bet I can really pull it off. And you're out there, and before you know it, you're heaving. It's like boxing,
It takes a lot out of you.
It takes more out. Or surfing. You can't believe how tiring it is when you actually go and do it. And then you realize you've been watching professional athletes do that and failing in the second and third round. Because it does take that much.
Takes it all.
Yeah.
The film is a ballsy man's movie.
Yeah.
But what really got me, and I think what can draw the female audience into it, is the scene you're talking about your daughter, and Liam talking about his wife, and that whole thing with the hair.
Yeah.
And as a guy.
I know.
Look, right now talking about
it's incredible.
It was very touching.
It is. Now I have a little daughter, just like the age of that girl, and so there's that connection. Dallas has 2 kids. Frank's got 3. Liam's got 2 teenagers. Families in this movie. His wife or girlfriend, whoever that is in the story, is there the whole time. She's not physically in the movie. My daughter's not in the movie. There's just like a sense that she's there. But those emotions and those connections to the outside world or to your family life are so strong, even though you don't see them in this movie. So there are moments in this